Hey, Bucs fans, let's look at some guys who are going to bring the juice. I'm Josh Capo with Pewter Report. We're going to take a look at my top 10 edge rush draft prospects from this 2025 NFL draft. I've looked at 20 edge rushers so far. I've got a top 10 over 5 tiers, and we're going to try and do them in 10 minutes or less. Before we get to that, though, make sure you like and subscribe for more Bucs and draft content at the Pewter Report channel. All right, let's get into it then. First tier. I've got 3 guys in this tier. The top of that list really should be a 1A, and that is Abdul Carter from Penn State. This guy is just about the entire package when it comes to this draft class. He's got the speed and the power off the edge. He's got a great pass rush plan, amazing athleticism. You can see him, dip and rip. He's got a spin move. He sets guys up. He can win with just about anything that you really want him to. And this is why he is the consensus overall number 1 edge. You saw the long arm right there and how he quickly transitioned from it. Then the next 2 players, or at least the next player in tier 1, this is kind of that beginning of that 1B. This is Donovan Ezeraku out of Boston College. Pewter Report readers and listeners know that I am as high as one can be, probably higher than most in the draft community on Ezeraku. The long arms are fantastic. He's got every trick in the book, a great pass rush plan. He has amazing production this last year. So he combines everything that kind of the Bucs have been saying that they really want to look for in an edge rusher. And the great thing is he really can win high side. And that's something that the Bucs have kind of lacked since Shaq Barrett was in his prime. Now, the third guy in this first tier for me, that's Mike Green out of Marshall. A lot of the things that I just said with Ezeraku, you can say about Green. He's even got the better spin move that you just saw him pull on Ohio State right there. But a lot of juice off the edge. He's elite in terms of his ability to bend and win the corner on the high side. A little bit smaller or a little bit shorter arms than Ezeraku, so I think he might struggle when it comes to run defense a little bit more than Ezeraku would, and that's why I have Ezeraku a little bit higher, plus Ezeraku played against a higher level of competition. But with Green, you've got the production, you've got the plan, you've got the elite athleticism, especially in the agilities there, gives him a ton of upside. I should also note that all of these grades are basically tape grades. It does not look at anything beyond the field. So with Mike Green, there have obviously been some things out there about off the field. He's tried to address them head on. Good for him, but this won't account for any of it. Now, the guy you're seeing right here, this is my tier 2, the only guy in tier 2. And this is Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. Elite athlete at a really big size. And if he can put that together at the NFL level, probably no guy on this list has as high of an upside as Shamar, but he does have a lack of production. Some of that you can say, and a lot of people have been noting here at during this draft cycle that some of it has to do with how Texas A&M played him oftentimes as a 4I or a 4I, and not letting him get outside of the tackle and really win as an edge rusher. But there is still a concerning lack of production, even with that context, and not just in the as a pass rusher, but also in terms of his run stops. So now we'll move to tier 3, and with tier 3, you've got Princely Umanmian from Ole Miss, and what I really like about him, and you can see it on the tape, he's just got amazing burst off the line and the flexibility to win the corner on a consistent basis. The change of direction skills are fantastic. You saw it at Ole Miss this last year. He was consistently winning against a high level of competition in the SEC, and that gives him a lot of upside here in the draft. So Princely would be edge number 5 for me, and the number 1 edge in tier 3. Now, edge 6, also in the 3rd tier. We're going to stay in the SEC just after the end zone shot here. And this is Jalen Walker from Georgia. Now, the thing with Jalen, where's he going to play? And he could play everywhere, but he could also have trouble playing anywhere because he's positionless. I think he's better on the edge, and that's why I have him listed in my edge rankings. The juice off the line, he's just a supreme athlete. Obviously, the versatility that you could drop him, you could use him as a mugged up backer, you can move him all around as a chess piece, gives a lot of upside, but it also comes with a good amount of risk because he is very small for an edge rusher if you're going to make him a full-time edge. And then if you're making him a full-time linebacker, those really aren't his best reps. His best reps come here as an edge rusher. But the movement skills are probably second to none. I mean, you can see it really on this rep that's currently playing. Just watch how smooth and effortless he jumps around. The tackle can't keep up with him, and then he just finds the quarterback. So that's the end of tier 3. Now we move to tier 4. This is Femi Oladejo from UCLA. Really interesting that we moved from Jalen Walker to Oladejo because Oladejo spent most of his college career as an inside linebacker and only moved to edge this past year. And it's some really, really cool stuff. He plays at 110% of the time. He is Yaya Diaby light in terms of just really rocked up, not a lot of body fat, just all muscle, little on the top heavy side, and he plays heavy. He plays with power. He's going to run through everybody to get to the ball, and he won't stop until the whistle blows. Now, the next guy in this tier 4 for me would be James Pierce out of Tennessee. Pierce, some people say he didn't have a lot of production. I take issue with that. When you count how good of a run defender he was this past season, I'd say there's plenty of havoc plays, if you will. And with Pierce, an ability to win high side with bend and length. Plus, I think he had solid production. Moving into the final tier, tier 5, we've got Michael Williams from Georgia. This is a guy, if he can put it all together, again, for his size to be as athletic as he is with the length and the power that he can play with, if he puts it all together, he could be very special. With that said, he wasn't playing a ton of 4-eye like Shamar Stewart, and he still had a lack of production versus what you would think his skills would allow for. The glimpses are there. You can see it here, the hand fighting, the ability to run through and or around tackles. You don't typically see all of that in one player. So if he can put it all together, he's got a lot of high-end opportunity. And then the 10th edge for me and the end of the tier 5, this is Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. Jackson tested really, really well, especially with the explosive drills at the NFL Combine, and you can see a lot of it on his tape. The real question with him is he lacks bend, and he doesn't play with a ton of power. So how is he going to win at the NFL level? He did win high side at Arkansas, but it was oftentimes by just kind of flipping his hips rather than bending into the arc. Will that work at the next level? It's hard to say. Or will he develop the power that's necessary to win as a power player? So I think he's a real interesting eval. He's going to be somebody that a team is going to take a chance on with those physical measurables. I just think there's a little bit too much risk for me to place him higher than 10th on this list. So there you have it, Bucs fans. My top 10 edges. Leave the comment. Where did I go wrong? What did you like about the list? And don't forget to like and subscribe to Pewter Report YouTube TV.